Yeah, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Matthew Maley from MatthewMaley.com. Well, week 12 of the NFL is officially over, so hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving, got stupid full up on some turkey, had a little food coma, and got to enjoy some great games this weekend. Hopefully you guys got to see more of the football than I did, since I spent all day Sunday traveling back from the East Coast down in Florida all the way back to Phoenix. So the entire day I saw about 6 minutes of football waiting for my flight in Jacksonville. So hopefully you guys got to watch some football for me. But I was able to, hop up on some Sports Center and watch ESPN.com and, see how everything went and see how my teams are doing. So I want to do a quick recap and recap the Turkey Day games as well as everything from Sunday and Monday. So first off, want to just recap Thanksgiving football, which is by far one of the best traditions of football. Of Thanksgiving is the football. Absolutely love that. Love that this year the Lions actually are worth watching. It's actually exciting having the Lions as one of the Thanksgiving Day games. Sadly, it really just didn't end the way that I was hoping it would. I really did think that the Lions are, I still do think that they're strong enough to actually contend with the Packers, but mentally they just weren't there. And it could just be that they're a young team, they're coming together, and they just let the bright lights of a nationally televised game on Thanksgiving do damage, honestly. And just some bad play, some bad penalties in the beginning, and then of course the stomp felt and heard around the world, and then it was the tailspin was starting and it didn't stop from there. For those of you who don't know, Ndamukong Suh, who's the star defensive tackle from Nebraska for the Lions, who's one of my favorite players. I feel he is one of the most intense players I've ever seen as a football player in football. And what I love is it's kind of a shout out and a throwback to the more of the golden years of football in my perspective, which I know everybody who's a fan of football has their time with the golden years are. And for me, it was, back in the mid-90s when I was 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 watching football, when people would get wrecked. When you had people who went out there, when there wasn't just one Ray Lewis, where every team had a Ray Lewis, where every team had that hard nose, put your head down and just blow a fool. And sadly, we don't get that much anymore. The refs are so concerned with making sure that if you breathe on a quarterback, you get a 15-yard flag. If you even think about extending your arm, you get a pass interference. If you even think about not looking back and getting two eyes on the ball so you can read NFL on the side and good old Roger Goodell's signature on the ball, then you're going to get a pass interference penalty. And it's just not the football that I remembered. And I still love the game. Still, if not my favorite sport, one of my top 2 or 3. But it just sucks compared to where it was, previously. And the excitement and the drama and the trash talking. And there's so much more to it than there is now. But I digress. So I love Ndamukong Suh. Shout out, he's my dude. And what I like about him is he's a very hard player, but I never really felt that he was dirty. And then after stopping the Packers on 3rd and goal, or 3rd and 10, close to the goal line, whatever it was, and essentially going to hold them only to a field goal to where it would have been 10-0 going into halftime, and Ndamukong Suh is tackled, through a block and proceeds to kind of push the Packers player helmet into the ground. And then as he stands up, he proceeds to stomp on the Packers player's arm. And while it wasn't a super hard stomp, it's still a 280 to 310 pound guy stomping on you. And even though he didn't have all his weight, I wish I could explain it to you if you didn't get a chance to see it, but it was almost like he was leaning sideways. Kind of probably went out of shot there. He was leaning sideways and kind of stomped at him as much, not as much stomped through him. Whereas if he would have actually stood over him and stomped him, he could have killed the guy. How much power he's got. But so I don't think it was that bad. It was nowhere near as bad as the Albert Hainsworth one, by any means, but regardless, it's not something you can do. That is a classless play, and I really support the guy. I think he's a great player. I really think he's good for the NFL, but you can't do that. There's no two ways about it. There's no nothing. You can't do that. And even though 3-4 weeks ago, whatever, we had the guy who kicked one of the Packers square in the junk. Not only did not even get it, kicked out, they didn't even get it penalized for it, but, it is what it is. That's my only complaint about the whole thing, is that the refs and, the NFL in general, they're so hypocritical at times, and they have such double standards that it's crazy to me. And that's my only complaint about it. I'm not saying that in any way Ndamukong, didn't mess up big. He did. But I'm curious to see what's going to happen with it. Some people are saying you'll suspend him for the rest of the year. Come on. I think they'll suspend him a game, maybe two, personally, and fine him, whatever they can. Which I definitely think he deserves the fine. But a lot of people are saying, well, obviously he doesn't care about the money, so you got to do more than that. Which I don't know. I just feel like his emotions just boiled over. I don't, hold him. I don't think he's less of a man. I don't think he's a bad person. I don't think he's a dirty player. I just think he just boiled over, which happens to everybody. And that was the turning point of the game. Him getting thrown out, then gave the Packers the ball with a fresh set of downs, and the very next play, they run it in, and now it's 14-0, and then first play out after halftime, now it's 21-0, and then the wheels just were completely gone. The tailspin was just complete. Stafford threw like 72 interceptions. It was ridiculous. It wasn't really that many, obviously. I think he threw 4. And it was just bad. And all that hype that I really thought there was going to be about this game, and I really thought this was going to be a game where you're glued to it. Really, by the time they came back after halftime, you were pretty much done, or whenever you got thrown out. Maybe it was like right after halftime. I don't remember. That's how done I was with the game. So I just focused on eating and getting ready for a turkey nap. But then the game that I was really excited about was that night. And sadly, it was on NFL Network, so I wasn't able to watch it. I was only able to watch little highlights coming across the ticker on ESPN. But it was the Harbaugh, if you will, with Jim versus John Harbaugh, Ravens versus the 49ers. And Ravens came in at 7-3. 49ers came in at 8-2, 9-2. Yeah, I don't know. I apologize. But the 49ers were killing it. No, they'd only lost once. I'm sorry, they'd only lost once. And it was, from what I saw, the highlights, it was exactly what I was expecting it was going to be, even though Ray wasn't able to play. Ray Lewis is still nursing injured toe. It was defense, grinded out, fighting for every couple yards type of game, and the Ravens took it 16-6 in what I heard was a great game. Even with a score like that, I still heard it was a great game. So, big game for them. Big game. That proves a lot, because the 49ers have been playing very well. Not some, sugar-coated, easy schedule. They've been playing some good teams, and they've been playing very well. So, shout out to the 49ers. Mainly just to Harbaugh, because you a beast going there. I mean, everybody thought you were going to stay at Stanford, or thought that you needed, somebody like Luck to, keep you going, but you're doing it big, man. So you've got to be the coach of the year. If, like I said in my last video, either you or Jim Schwartz, which after this past week, it's looking more like you instead of Schwartz. But then we get to a real fun game with the Cardinals. And the Cardinals were playing the Rams, and it ended up, I want to get exactly what the total, it doesn't list it as total yardage, but Cardinals ended up winning it 23-20. Thanks again to my boy Patrick Peterson running another punt back for a touchdown. His 4th one this year, ties a new rookie record. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I think it ties a new NFL record. And the fact he's a rookie is just stupid. Dude is just so nice. I hope he can get one more in and get the record all to himself, because that would be fresh, First year. And I really think he is going to be the centerpiece of our defense for when Adrian Wilson's still got plenty of years left, but when he starts getting a little bit older, I think that's when he's going to kind of defer a little bit to Patrick. Kind of in a way like what Ed Reed does now, what Ray Lewis does now, where they kind of defer to T. Sizzle, you know, or McAllister, Haloti Ngata, you know, stuff like that. I think that I could see that exact same thing happening from A-Dub, kind of letting it go down, you know, to who I think is going to be the star of our team going forward. And so shout out to my boy, Mr. Peterson, LSU in the house, and just did it big. So great win for that. So there you go. Both my teams got a win there. So we went 2-0 in my real football. So now it's time to get to the fantasy aspect. And I must say, first, foremost, before we go any further, do not pass go. Do not collect $200 before you listen to this. I ended my losing streak. That's right, folks. That is right. That is right. That is right. After losing 10 games in a row, your boy finally won in the Any Given Sunday Fantasy Football League. When he was able to finally put together not finally put together a good showing, because I had lots of great showings. I just haven't been able to, you know, get it great enough. I score 140, somebody just score 141. So I finally was able to score 120, like I've been doing pretty consistently, and ran into somebody who only scored 96. And this is thanks to 35 from Mr. Brady, 17 from Chris Johnson, 14 from Ryan Matthews, 10 from Dwayne Bowe, Plaxico Burress got me 13. And even I put up a goose egg from Julio Jones and still was able to pull out the win. And only put up 4 points from Buffalo. Still was able to put up the win. So, hallelujah. Now I'm actually not in last place because I've scored so many points at 2-10. I'm actually in 9th place since there's somebody else at 2-10 who scored like 300 points less than me. So, finally got something going there. So, then we go to my next league where I really need to get some wins together. I still have a chance to make the playoffs. The first 4 teams are locked in, and then you've got like literally 4 teams all at the same record of 5-7. At this point it was 4-7. But I was able to, at 5-7, yeah. I was able to pull out a win, and in this league I won 98-83, thanks to a pretty just solid game across the board, from my kicker to my defense to Dwayne Bowe, Steve Johnson, Matthew Stafford, Arian Foster. It all ended up pretty solid. So ended up now with that win, it put me into, it did move me up 2 points, or 2 spots. So now I'm sitting at 5-7. The problem is that head to head, I've lost to 2 of the teams that are ahead of me. So I really need to win this coming week, and they both need to lose, and then I might be able to sneak in there. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm hoping I can put something together, but we'll see. So then we go to my other league where I'm leading, and I got another win, so I'm officially in first place at 9-3. I was able to win 122-99, thanks to a pretty good showing. Again, across the board, my Ravens D got me 23 points. That 9 sacks on Alex Smith was beast mode, as well as Fred Davis got me 15. Marshawn got me 20. Marcus Colston, Matt Forte, and Matthew Stafford all got me from the 10 to 20 point range. So it was a decent showing. So thankfully, I was able to put that together, and I'm doing pretty well in that league overall. Then we go to my other ESPN league that I'm not doing well at all. And I was playing one of my best friends, my boy Trayvon, and it's his first year playing fantasy football, so he hasn't been doing too well. He was actually, if I'm not mistaken, he was 2-9. Yeah, he was 2-9 before the game, and I was 3-8. And sure enough, I put up a goose egg. Fucking horrible. Well, it wasn't a goose egg, and sorry about that. Still PG-13. I get 2 of those, so don't flag this. But I ended up. Got 22 points from Chris Johnson, and that was it. Other than that, was like 15 points from the Cardinals D, and then it was like Ben Roethlisberger and Mike Williams both got me 11 and 12 respectively, and then it was all like 1, 3, 7, 2, 9. So I lost that. So now we're both tied for last at 3-9. Great, at least I got company down there, and it's my best friend, so it works out. So that league, I'm screwed, and there's nothing coming out of that league. But it is what it is. I mean, it's still a fun league, and it's still fun doing it, you know. even if you aren't doing well, it's still fun putting everything together, and it's just enjoyable. I just enjoy the process of fantasy football, to be quite honest. So I'm ended up going decently well. I mean, you see, I went 5-1. So we're getting there. I said I wanted to go 6-0, so we're getting there. 5-1. Let's hopefully next week. It's just funny because I was 4-2 the week before that. If I'm not mistaken, I was 3-3 the week before that. So hey, maybe I'm just destined to go 6-0 this next week. Close a couple of my fantasy leagues off on a good note since I ain't making the playoffs, and at least I got something positive to think about. So we'll see. I want to do one other quick aside because people are tearing my boy up over it, and I think it's garbage personally. But I'm speaking of my boy Stevie Johnson's celebration after he scored a touchdown, Buffalo Bill game against the Jets. And I thought it was funny. But we'll get into it. So for those of y'all who didn't see, after he scored a touchdown, he proceeded to shoot gun in the air, gun in the air, gun in the air, gun in the air, gun down, and goes, oh, like he shot himself in the leg because they were playing the Jets. Plaxico Burress. He then proceeds to stumble, and then do a little bit of the Jet thing like Mr. Cromartie always does, and then he stumbled and fell to the ground like the Jet crashed. I thought it was funny. I definitely thought it was worth the 15-yard penalty. I mean, I expected him to get that. Anytime you go to the ground, that's automatically going to be 15 yards. So I was cool with that. But the amount of flack that he's getting as a result of this, even when Plaxico said that he was cool with it, and I don't really know if Plax was cool with it or not. He might have just said it, just to look like the better, guy, take the high road. But at the end of the day, here's my opinion on it. If he had made a joke about the current situation at Syracuse or the current situation at Penn State, if he'd made some type of action to joke with that, that would have been definitely stepping across the line. If he would have made some reference to something that is closeted or not known about Plaxico, let's say there were gay rumors about him, and he did something mocking that I think would be crossing the line. Or if there were rumors that he was beating his spouse or doing drugs, if he pretended to beat something up or if he pretended to do drugs, that I think would have been crossing the line. But the fact that the entire Plaxico Burress case was truly not just national news, but it was like celebrity national news, like paparazzi's chasing him, like on the cover of Us Weekly and stuff. So when you get something that achieves that level of, I guess you could say, infamy, because it's really not famous, but we'll say infamy, I think that that's fair game. In my opinion, it would have been the same thing if he would have, maybe Plaxico wrecked a $1 million sports car and Stevie pretended like he drove a car into the goalpost. I would have been fine with that. And I understand that this man did have to go to prison. I get that. And I understand that it probably doesn't bring up some good memories. But at the end of the day, it's an action that happened to a bad decision he made. He paid his debt to society, and now he's back being a productive human being as well as football player. And it's not like Plaxico shot somebody. It's not like he was, killing dogs in a dog fighting ring. He shot himself. Which, if that would have happened to me, nothing would have even happened. They might have gotten me for discharging a firearm or accidental discharge in a living structure or within 200 feet of an occupied structure. But just so happens, he just had to be in New York, which had the most Nazi, Gestapo, worst gun laws you'll find anywhere, even worse than California, that's right. And he paid the price for it. So while I do feel bad that Plaxico had to go through that, he did make the choice, he did break the law, he only hurt himself, and I don't think y'all should be getting on Stevie so much about it. Like, Complex ran an article, which if you haven't had a chance to check it out on my Facebook, check it out on complex.com, about the 25 most disrespectful, celebrations ever. And they said that was the most disrespectful thing they've seen in more than in the last decade. Really? They put it as number 4 on their countdown. So shout out number 1 was when T.O. scored and put the ball in the middle of the star in Dallas and was playing for the 49ers. One of my favorite favorite moments in all time of football. I love that moment. Hate T.O., hate the Cowboys, hate the 49ers, love that moment. And then Emmitt Smith comes back and does it and gets the crowd fired up, and it's awesome. So go check out that countdown just to see what I'm talking about. But all I'm saying is just get off my boy Stevie's back. Honestly, he's already had a tough enough career. Called out God last year, so if y'all don't remember that, go check that out on YouTube. But shout out to my boy Stevie. At the end of the day, like they were saying, Plaxico at the last laugh, he scored, which gave him the win over the Bills. So at the end of the day, I guess it all worked out. But let me know what you guys think. Weigh in on this. Do you think that was incredibly disrespectful? Do you think something like that is crossing the line? Is it? But then again, where is that line? If something is a criminal charge, is that where the line is? If something is a felony, is that where the line is? Something is a gun crime, violent crime? I'm just curious. I just want to hear what y'all's opinion is. So drop me a comment, whatever. Send me something. Let me know what you think. So it'd be cool. You know, I'm definitely curious to see what you guys think. So as always, you know, I'm here to try and get as much feedback from everybody as possible. So I like hearing what everybody has to say. So until my next video, I just want to say thank you very much for checking out these videos. As always, I apologize. This one went really long, but I had lots to talk about Thanksgiving. So hope everybody had a safe, happy, healthy Thanksgiving. Got to spend lots of time with family, eat lots of good food, watch lots of good football. Hopefully your teams won. Hope you guys are getting ready for the playoffs in all your fantasy leagues and in real leagues. So if you wouldn't mind, if you're up on YouTube right now, and you want to check out the rest of my videos, search for Matthew Maley Poker. Or if you just up on this video, if you want to watch it a couple more times, boost those plays, click the little like checkbox, leave me a little comment, let me know if you think it was over the line, if not. And as always, subscribe to your boy's channel. Got all kinds of videos coming out, so they're at least somewhat entertaining. If you're working an office job and you want to kill some time, you can always watch some of my videos. Right? It's good for something. Of course, if you want to follow me up on Twitter, you check me out at Matthew Maley. Up on Facebook, search for your boy's poker page, if you will. Search for Matthew Maley Poker. And as always, MatthewMaley.com. I gotta come up with like a theme song or something. That'd be hot. But anyway, once again, thanks for checking out all my videos. Hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. And I'm running on fumes after the past traveling, so I'm about to crash out before I gotta go back to work and do it all over again. So, till my next video, it's your boy Matthew Maley from MatthewMaley.com. Signing off. Peace out, y'all.